Hello and welcome to an edition of Cracking the Cryptic that I'm fairly sure will never see the light of day. I'm going to be attempting one of these legendary puzzles from the history of Sudoku. This one is called Region Geometry, and a number of our patrons have asked if I could have a look at this. I think I did know this puzzle existed back in the day, and I think I should have checked this actually before I turned on the webcam, but I think I had an email from Emre. This puzzle was by Emre Kolotoğlu. I think I had an email from Emre saying, don't attempt this in a video because it's too difficult. So I should have double checked. I've certainly had an email from Emre about one of his puzzles, and I think it was this one. I did remember to snip Logic Masters Germany's comments, and it's had very few solves. It's about 2 years old. But if we look at the comments, or some of the comments, you can see people like Jesper and KNT and Polar, Purple, Niveria. These are brilliant solvers, and they are all saying that this is, it's magnificent. Niveria, masterful. 5 stars for difficulty is an understatement. KNT, this is unbelievable. Well, it is quite unbelievable because, this is the grid. There's just some question marks given outside the grid, and the question marks seem to be some sort of mashup of skyscrapers rules and numbered rooms clues, and that's it. So that's what we're going to be having a look at, or what I'm going to be having a look at for the next several hours, I suspect. I hope that if I can get anywhere with this puzzle, that my software allows me to record for long enough, because nobody is saying, oh, I got this done in an hour. Everyone's saying it took them hours and hours and hours, so I'm starting this really early for me. It's an absolutely horrible day outside. So, I guess, wish me luck. I don't think there's anything else I can tell you. Let us have a go at Region Geometry by Emre Kolotoğlu, and I will appeal to the Sudoku gods to make my brain in good enough form today to make some sort of attempt at this. And now what I have done is I've got Chainbear's wonderful skyscraper animation to illustrate skyscraper rules, so we can remember those together. But these are the rules of this puzzle. We have got each row, column and region. Oh gosh, it's chaos construction as well. Some reason that didn't occur to me when I was just looking at the question marks. Each row, column and region must contain the digits 1 to 9 exactly once. Each region is a set of orthogonally connected cells and must be determined by the solver. So orthogonally connected means cells that share an edge. So we couldn't have a region that looked like that. That wouldn't be a region because this little cell here is not orthogonally connected to its friends. It only touches the rest of the green cells at a point, and that will make it wrong. Now it says clues outside the grid represent any integers from 1 to 9 inclusive, and they act as both skyscraper and numbered room clues with additional region constraints. And then it says skyscrapers, considering each digit in the grid as a skyscraper of that height. Clues outside the grid indicate the number of skyscrapers seen from that direction, where taller skyscrapers hide the shorter ones. And then it says for each clue, all visible skyscrapers must be in different regions. But let's deal with the first part first, because that is relevant to the Chainbear animation. So let me just play this and we can see. So you can see there that the digits in the row have all been they all represent skyscrapers of a height equal to their size. So the 9 is the tallest building, the 8 is the next highest, then the 7. And you can see the little arrow from the left-hand side, and that's saying, okay, what would this clue be outside the grid if we saw a 2, 4, 5, 1, 3, 7, 9, 6, 8 row in the Sudoku? And you can see that the 2 would be seen, the 4 would be seen, the 5 would just peek out over the top of the 4, but the 1 and the 3 would be hidden by the 5. And then the 7 would be seen and the 9 would be seen. So we'd see 5 skyscrapers. So I'm expecting this to be a 5. Yeah, it's so good, this animation. Yeah, it's 5. And then we switch to the other side and we say, okay, well, what would the clue be from the other side? And you can see we'd just see the 8 and then we'd see the 9 peeking out over the top of the 8. So we'd only see 2 skyscrapers. So it should be a 2 here. So that's the basics of skyscrapers. So hopefully that little animation there, thanks to Chainbear as always, a great F1 YouTuber. Hopefully that makes it clear how skyscrapers clues work. But it says for each clue, all visible skyscrapers must be in different regions. So if you had, if we had a row that sort of did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And let's say there was a clue outside the grid, then that would be saying, because all of these skyscrapers are visible, every single one of these would be in a different region, I think. So let's change the order slightly. Let's say it was this. Now, this 8 wouldn't have to be in a different region. It may be in a different region, I suppose. Just thinking about the way that rule is phrased. All visible skyscrapers must be in a different region. So an invisible skyscraper may or may not be in a different region. So that's already quite confusing. But then we've got one more clue. It says numbered rooms. Clues outside the grid indicate the digit in the nth cell from that direction, where n is the digit in the first cell from that direction. Oh, I see. So if this was a 5, if this cell here was a 5, then you'd look at this clue here. Let's say that's a 4. And I think what that's saying is that the digit 5 appears in the 4th position in this row. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So that would be a 5, I think, is what that's saying. Clues outside the grid indicate the digit is in the nth cell from that direction. Yeah, okay, so if we change that and look from this direction and we have the same thing, so imagine this clue was a 5, then what we're saying is this time we're counting from this direction, so this would be a 5. We don't always count from the left-hand side, we count from the direction of the clue. But there's one more rule. It says for black clues, so most of the clues are black, the first and nth cells must be in the same region. First and nth cells must be in the same region. So if we go back here and we had 4 and 5, these two cells would be in the same region. Red clues may or may not obey this region constraint. We've got 2 red clues, so they don't necessarily have. So if it was 4 and 5 in this row, these don't have to be in the same region. Necessarily. They may be, but they don't have to be. Good grief. I'd say do have a go. I mean, do have a go. It's meant to be an incredible puzzle. But I'd only suggest having a go if you are prepared to, indulge in what I suspect is going to be a very long battle. Yeah. What was it? There was somebody who said something like, people accidentally breaking the puzzle, but there was something I saw. Totally absorbing puzzle. And maybe it was a comment I didn't snip. But basically it was saying that, this is just a magnificent puzzle, but it takes a very long time. But anyway, now I get to play. Let's get cracking. Now, I haven't got a clue how to start this, but, well, I'm presuming we must focus on the black question marks, just because the red question marks are less constrained. It looks like the top row is where we start, doesn't it? Because at least we've got overlapping question mark clues. But what I haven't I've got no feel for this even, is what the constraints are around the values of these things outside the grid. So if this was a 9 outside the grid, that would act as a skyscraper clue in the first instance, and that would say we're seeing 9 skyscrapers. So this is, I think, the way that this puzzle might have to work, in the sense that because all these skyscrapers are visible, that would at least give us a chance of... In fact, wouldn't that make the grid a series of stripes? It might do. It might just make... Maybe... Hang on. Let me just think about what the numbered rooms thing is saying. So the numbered rooms thing, which has a 1 here now... okay. No. All right. This is not the answer to the puzzle, because the numbered room things doesn't work here. I don't think, because the numbered room would be saying that we have to put the 9, which I'm hypothesizing is the question mark clue, in the first cell from this direction. But we're saying that the skyscraper clue requires that cell to be a 1. So we'd have to make this a Schrödinger cell, which I'm hoping is not a thing. Right. So the question mark clue is not the maximum digit it could be. Is it the minimum digit it could be, which would be a 1? Now, if it's a 1, what does that mean? Then we have to put 9 here. And that does work, doesn't it? I think. Yeah, because what I'm thinking is, from a skyscraper's perspective, that would give us a 9 here, because we need only one skyscraper to be seen. But the 9 would be saying throw the 1 into the 9th position from a numbered rooms perspective. But but then these are in the same region. Right, so that would actually force a whole region across the top of the grid. Okay, so that doesn't work, but it's complicated. Can you ever... Well, the way I'd seen that didn't work is because of the vertical question marks, where whatever digits these are, they're not 1 anymore. So there has to be a cell in these columns that is part of these regions, because of that numbered room thingy. So imagine this was I don't know, if this clue is a 4, then whatever this digit is throws a 4 down the grid somewhere, and these are meant to be in the same region, so we'd have more than a 9-cell region. That was what I first noticed. But I'm actually just wondering whether or not you can have a 1 as a question mark clue ever. I mean, we saw you couldn't if the question mark clue was a 9. But this would always be the numbered room. This would always be the solution to the numbered room. So if you do have a 1 in the first position of a black question mark clue, the clue is a 1. Yeah, and that doesn't work, does it? Because then that's saying that the skyscraper, from a skyscraper perspective, it should be a 9. Because if there's a 1 outside the grid, that's saying you need to put a 9. Okay, sorry, yeah. So actually, I mean, it's probably not worth pencil marking, but none of the question mark clues none of the black question mark clues can ever have a 1 in them. I don't think the red ones can either, because surely that doesn't change as a conclusion. There's an immediate contradiction, because the question mark clue, once you put a 1 here, the numbered room is a 1. So the question mark is a 1, but the skyscraper then requires you to see one skyscraper, which requires that cell to be a 9, if you see what I mean. Yeah. Okay, so there is never, whether it's a red question mark or a black question mark, no question mark clue has a 1 in it. Yeah, and we worked out that this isn't 1 or 9. Well, that's actually a bit discombobulating, because the fact that this is not an extreme number I don't really understand that. I don't really. Well, what I don't understand is how. Oh, it's terrifying, actually, because what it means is that it's going to be something related to the vertical question marks that are going to somehow restrict the value of this clue. Oh, wow. Okay, I'm just going to try 8 there. So, oh, hang on. How did we do this? How did I start? I know. I wasn't thinking about the digit here. I got on to thinking about the digit here and whether it could be a 1. I think I was just thinking about the value of the question mark, wasn't I? And I've established the value of the question mark is not 1 and it's not 9. So let's try 8 as a value of the question mark. So that's immediately saying that we see 8 skyscrapers. So the 9 in the row would have to be very late on. And we know the 9 can't be here, don't we? Because, well, actually that's interesting. We do know that, but only just. This column is far, yeah, if we did have a 9 here, then we're saying that the skyscraper clue would be 1. So a numbered room clue that gets thrown down the grid is a 1 to the bottom. This entire row, or column, sorry, is now all one region. And that this time, this doesn't break as it did in the row because there was a question mark here. It breaks because of this cell and the fact there must be something else in this row that's part of this 9-cell region. So that isn't possible, but only just. So if the question mark clue is an 8, the 9 has to go there in the row. But then that could be anything, I think. And if the question mark is an 8, the 8 is getting thrown depending on the value of this digit. Well, the 8 can't get thrown. Oh, all of these need to be visible skyscrapers now, because they all have to be seen. So there's going to be a whole string of thingies doing this. The 8 can't be thrown here. Yeah, the 8 can't be thrown here. Because to be thrown there, that would be a 9, which would put 2 9s in the row. So the 8 must be thrown to here, which means this square has to be a 7. Oh, that doesn't work. Good grief, that's very complicated. Yeah, because the 8 would have to be thrown to this spot. The thing that throws it to that spot is a 7 there, and now the skyscraper's broken because it can only be 3, and yet we've said we were starting from the presumption the question mark clue was an 8. Wow, this is really complicated. So, hang on. Yeah, also, I might change my tack here, actually. I'll come back to this if I can't make something else work, but just going through all the digits and trying to work out what the question mark clue could be feels like it's not going. I can just feel it's going to get more and more flexible as we reduce this number. I mean, if this was 5, for example, let's just convince myself of that. Just one. I mean, that's what my instinct is telling me. If that was a 5, all we're really saying is that the 9 in the row is in one of those cells. And yeah, we probably know it's not in those cells, so it's one of those 3 cells. And if this is a 5, the 5 is getting thrown somewhere in the row, but there's no pressure on that. There really is none. It's not like the 8. That's horrible. That's absolutely horrible. Right, sorry, this is not how to do this. Let's try instead the actual numbered room clue then, because we did work out you can't put 1 into any of the black question marks. Well, any of the numbered rooms next to the black question marks. Now, if on the other hand that is 9, do we also get a restriction there? I think we probably do, but I'm not certain, because now, yeah, now we get the 1 here, don't we? Because this skyscraper clue would be a 1. It's only one seen skyscraper being the 9. So the 1 gets thrown here, and I thought this broke for some reason. Yeah, it did, didn't it? Because these have to be in the same region. And you can't have 1 in a question mark position, yeah. Okay, so that does break. Okay, so maybe a better way to look at it is what's this digit? Now, do we think that's going... If that's a big digit, do we think it's under more pressure? Let's try 8 here. Then the skyscraper clue is definitely 2. So you definitely get a 2 here. But that's not... Oh, this is all in the same region as well. Yeah, I mean that hopefully that's clear. The only way of joining these into a region that's common is going to be if all of the top row is in the region with it. Because if we introduced a new 9-cell region in the middle, it wouldn't matter if we kept this region as small as we possibly could. Let's just draw it as maybe something like that would be about as efficient as you could do it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. You'd have to have like an enormous region to get around it. And even if you did it in a different way, if we did it, I've looked at this on Cracking the Cryptic before, these sort of, can you get regions to ring other regions? That's the most efficient way of building a region from a point of view of having this one have to get round it. And you can see it's just an enormous region. I don't know how many cells that is, but it's clearly more than 9. That's 9 already. So I think that's something like 14. It's not even close. So the only way this works is if this is a whole string in the same region. Now we know you can't put 1s in those clues because they're question marks. So these are not, they're now not 1 or 2, so these are 3s, 4s or bigger, and that means that there should be a green cell in this column somewhere, well, in the third, in this position. And now this is an 8-cell, 9, 10-cell region, so this doesn't work. So this can't now be 1, 8 or 9. Yeah, but the problem here is I can't... This isn't generic logic that we're doing, in the sense that this doesn't apply to all black question marks, because... Sorry, just thinking about how this top row operates makes me wonder if you had this question mark clue, and say we got... I don't know. We've got a digit here and it throws a digit down there, so these are in the same region. Well, this could join to this. It doesn't have to be a line, does it? It could go off a wandering on a sort of hobbit-like journey. It doesn't have to go in a straight way. It can go through Mirkwood and through the Misty Mountains, and so I think all I'm going to say from that is, whatever we're concluding about how this square works in this top row, I'm going to have to be very careful about extending it to these columns. Maybe not that column, because that column is also pinned against the border, if you like. So you can't, you know, we can't get round other regions. Right, okay, but we've convinced ourselves this is not 1, 2 or 8. Can it be 7? If that's 7, The maximum skyscraper clue now is 3, but it could be 2. So the clue here is a 2 or a 3, and that's getting transposed into that position. So all of these would be in the same region. We know these can't be 1s. So I think this is broken. I mean, one of these would be at least a 4. And once it's at least a 4, we're going off to these positions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, that doesn't work. Okay. So again, this is now a maximum of... This cell is a maximum... I'm actually going to pencil mark it. Is a maximum of 6. Something I noticed there, though, when I put the 7 in, I'm going to try it with 6 now, but because this is throwing a digit somewhere along the row, in this case into this cell, isn't it? We don't know what the skyscraper would be, although it would be fairly low. Because it does that, these cells become part of the region. For the reasons we said about we can't duck around another region within 9 cells, and none of these cells can be visible, because if they're visible, they're meant to be in different regions to this one. So actually, if this is a 6, these are definitely 7, 8, 9. That's interesting. And we worked out, didn't we? Did we work out you can't put a 9? Yeah, you can't put a 9 because that would cause this to be a 1 and this question mark would break. So the maximum size of the question mark now in row 1, it can't be the skyscraper clue cannot be 4. So it can't go 6, 7, 8, 9 because this would break. So it's a maximum of 3. So this square is a 2 or a 3. Yeah, but that works now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's say this was a 3. That would put a green cell here. And that is not now a 9-cell region. Bobbins. But there's one to come. That's still not a 9-cell region. Well, that is a 9. No, I mean it is a 9-cell region, but it could be a 9-cell region. That's very annoying. Oh, something I hadn't seen is that I've got opposing question marks in this column. So I don't know what that means. I mean, I'm conscious of the fact that if either of these clues was extreme in any way, it would have a profound effect on the other. So, for example, where the 9 goes in this column has a very, very meaningful effect on both clues. I mean, if you put the 9 in the middle, then neither clue can be higher than 5. But if you put the 9 there, this clue can't be higher than 3. Don't know what that means. Okay, so have we actually improved our lot in life? I think we've hit a point where, in fact, we're going to have trouble now, aren't we? Because 6 can work. I think 6 can work. I can't see what's a problem with... I mean, it's quite constrained. This would have to be a 2-3 pair because we have to pick up either that or that in order to not break the size of the top row. These would be 1, 4, 5. This would be a 7 or an 8 in a question mark clue. Oh, come on, Simon, what's this saying? Is 2 difficult? I mean, that would be interesting if you couldn't put a 2 into a question mark clue. I'm going to think about that. I've not thought about that. If you put 2 into a question mark clue, what are we then saying? I don't think we're saying very much, are we? We're saying that whatever the question mark is, it's getting thrown into that position. But this doesn't put much pressure on the skyscraper, because it's such a low digit. So this could still be quite a big number. Or it could be quite a low number. I suppose it can't be a 2 now. Because if it's a 2... Oh, could it? No, it could be a 2. Hang on. No, it can't be a 2, because that would be saying put a 2 here. Definitely can't be a 2. Can it be... It can't be a 1, because the skyscraper clue would be wrong. Gosh, this is complicated. Could it be a 3? Oh, hang on. Oh, goodness. Right, got it. I've got something. No, I've got too many low digits in the region here, I think. I've suddenly realised that. Yeah, let's look at this column, because this is what just gave it to me. This question mark clue here is telling us. Well, the 2 here is saying fly a 2, or fly the question mark into this square. Well, actually, the point is that this cannot be a visible skyscraper, because if it was visible, it shouldn't be in this one's region. So the only way this can't be a visible skyscraper is if it's a 1. But now what would happen to this one? That's going to be a 3. That's going to be a question mark. Sorry, not question mark. That's going to be where the numbered room gets thrown. And this clue... Oh no, I've spotted another rinky-dinky. Well, okay. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Ooh, this is horrible. Okay, what I've noticed now... Well, this can't be a visible skyscraper. Now, I was going to say that's a problem, because then this has to be lower than 3. But that's not true, is it? What would happen if this was visible? So imagine that was a 9, but it wasn't in the 3's region. So let's just put 9 in there. And then this 3 joined up like that. I mean, that doesn't work here, because we've used up too many digits. We can't be inefficient like that. So in this very specific example, that might fail. But in theory, that does work, doesn't it? Because now this is never seen. So it doesn't have any constraints on its size. Right, okay, but I think it's still valid to use this to rule out 6 here. Because for it to be 6, we know that these have to be 2 and 3. Because this skyscraper clue cannot be anything else. That requires this to be 2 or 3. We know this can't be a 1, and it can't be bigger than 3 because the region connecting these up, whatever number this is, the best you can ever do is to go with alacrity. So imagine that was a 5, and then that would put a green cell here. The closest you can do is just to go straight down the grid, and clearly that doesn't work. That region is now too big. So this is constrained, whoopsie, in terms of its size, because we know that this is going to cause a green square to exist in one of these, and we know this is going to cause a green square to exist down here somewhere, and the combined total of greens that we're adding cannot be greater than 3 because we've already got 6 in the row. So these have to be a 2-3 pair. And what's more, we have to go efficiently in both cases. So it's either this arrangement or it's this arrangement. And there aren't enough low digits, because we need digits that are lower than these 2 digits to fill in these cells, and there aren't enough of them. In fact, there's only 1 digit, isn't there, which is the digit 1. So 6 is not possible, but it's really complicated. Okay, but at least we're starting to learn things, aren't we? I think so. This is now a maximum of 5. This is 2, 3, 4, or 5. I'm going to try it the other way round now. I'm going to try 2, because 2 was what. If this is 2. I just don't think this is 2. I don't think it can be 2, but now I'm wondering why I didn't realise this before. I think I'm going mad. Why could 2 work here, but not here? Oh, I think I've missed another point. I don't think this can be. I'm not sure. Now I'm losing the will. My brain's gone. If this is 2. Yeah. The point is, I hadn't put 2 and 2 together. But that's a big problem, isn't it? That this is impossible, actually. So when we were looking at it over here, I hadn't put together the following point, which is that what this is saying from a numbered room perspective is that the question mark is getting transposed into this position. And therefore these 2 cells are in the same region. And this is equal in value. I wonder if it might not let me do this. No, it doesn't. I was going to try and put a question mark in there. Let's put a Q for question mark in there. So the question mark clue gets transposed by numbered rooms into this position. But the numbered room rule says these are in the same region. So this cannot be a visible skyscraper. So actually this has to be a 1. But once this is a 1, that means the question mark is 1, which means from a skyscraper perspective, this should have been a 9, because there should be only 1 seen skyscraper. And wherever the 9 goes in the row, it will make the total at least 2 for the skyscraper perspective. So you can't put a 2. Oh, so annoying. I should have gone this the other way around. So this is huge, because now this is 3, 4, or 5, and I think we're going to have a problem with the low digits, actually. So let's try 3. So oh no, that's not an 3 in the corner. I don't get to sing about that. If this is a 3, that's saying this square is green. These are both green. These have to be a 1-2 pair, don't they? They have to be, because they cannot both be seen. Yeah, this is the point. This is the point. You get a string. It's like a thermometer, except it might not be in order, of lower digits than whatever you put in this square, because you have to make sure everything in the row is not seen. Right. So now we know that this clue is a 1 or a 2. So the skyscraper can't be a 1, it has to be a 2. So it has to look like that. And now this has to be a 2, because that's what digit has got transposed here. And we can't put 2 here, can we? For exactly the same reason. Didn't we work this out? Because if this is 2, this digit is the question mark from this direction. It's got to be green, and this has no possible value to be not seen. Aha! This is better. So now we've really never narrowed this down. This is 4 or 5 now. It can't be anything else. I'm going to try 4. Now, if it's 4, This is green. It's transposing to here, the numbered rooms. So this is green. These are a 1, 2, 3 triple. This, we know, can't be 1 or 2, so that has to be 3. That's transposing a digit here. This digit, well, oh, okay. Well, here we can immediately therefore say this is not in green. Because if this is in green, it needs to be unseen and lower than 3, and no digits are available. So that is some digit that's not green. This is a digit that's at least a 5 and would be seen from a skyscraper perspective, so can't be green. So that's some other region as well. Might be joined to this one, don't know. Wow. I can't see why this is broken. I think it is broken. I just can't quite tell why. 2, 3, 4. If this was massive, that this question mark is going in this square. And it can't be, it would have to be at least a 5, wouldn't it? Because it is in green, definitely. So it can't repeat a value. So this is at least a 5. But then, so then there's quite a lot of pressure on the skyscraper, because we've got to get to a skyscraper count of 5 in the column. 1, 2. So this couldn't be a massive number. This is unseen. No, okay, I can't disprove that. I'm going to have a look at 5 instead in case there's a reason that breaks. But because we know this is 4 or 5, so I'm going to check 5. Now, because again, we can just do that, can't we? We know this is not 1, we know it's not 2, so this is 3 or 4. We know that's got to be unseen, so that's in a different region. It's this column, I think, where things are going on. So now we're saying we've had 5 cells. If this was a 4, that would be green. That would be at least a 6. Let me just think about that. Hang on. If this skyscraper is at least a 6 now, this cannot be a lower digit than this, because all those low digits have been used in the row. So that is definitely in a different region. And does that have to be seen or not? I suppose it doesn't really. What's the wording of the rules? All visible skyscrapers must be in different regions. We don't know whether that's visible or not, so it doesn't have to be. It could be a 1, just in the yellow region, and it wouldn't be seen. But it is true to say that one of these digits must be higher than this digit to stop this being seen. And we know that this digit is at least a 6. So actually there must be at least a 7 in one of these squares. It's really difficult to make this work, actually, because this is at least a 6. This clue is saying we have to see 6 skyscraper cells from this direction. I don't think this works. I don't think this particular arrangement works anyway, because I see this square. This could be higher, so let's say that, let's try and be as efficient as possible. That could be a 3. That could be a 4 in yellow. This could be a 5 in something else. No, this is the point. It can't be a 5 because it needs to shield this. So it needs to be at least a 7 in something else. So these 3 are all seen. And now we can see an 8 and a 9 in this column somewhere in different regions. But we only get to a skyscraper count as a maximum of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we've said that this clue is at least a 6, and it is at least a 6. You can't do it. Now, is that... I think it might be impossible, even if... Oh, hang on, and I made that a 4 to achieve this as well, which suggests this green. No, because also it's even worse. I have to do it like that. It doesn't actually make any difference, because in order to get the green this far down, I need this to be a 4. So you have to go something far. But the point is, this is always higher than this digit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, let's just double check then. Does it change? I think it's worse if we put 3 in here, because then we've got less space before we have a 6 appearing in the column, and therefore this is an earlier 7 in the column, and now the skyscraper clue is even worse. So it's still 6 at least as the question mark clue. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 is the maximum. Oh god, this is amazing. So now we've done it. We've done it. You can't do this with 5, because this column's jiggery pokery is just impossible to fill. That's just mad. Absolutely mad. I mean, what on earth possesses somebody to think of this? What? I don't know. Why would anybody think of this? It's absolutely mental. Okay, so we've worked out. We've got a digit, I suppose. That is a 4. So these are 1, 2, and 3. Now we know that we got 2 digits. That's got to be a 3. We know that that's now green. We know it's unseen, so we know that's some new region. That's right, and we know this square is at least a 5. I'm actually going to pencil mark it with everything I dare put in it, because it's got to be the value of the question mark clue. Now it can't be 9, because that would imply a skyscraper of 9, and that would imply that the column goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It doesn't. If it can't be 8, because this would, we have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 is only 7. It's not 8. It's 5, 6, or 7. And this shields it. So this is at least 6. To make sure this is unseen. Golly, this is still so complicated, actually. Oh, come on. What does that mean? It means that... But this can't be 9. There's a real problem here. This can't be 9, because the skyscraper clue in the column would be 2, and I'd have to put a 2 here. That can't be 9. I don't think it can be 8. The skyscraper clue would be 3, and that should be a 3, so it's definitely not 8. If this is 7, the skyscraper clue is 4 at best. So this is a 6. It just is a 6. And then this is shielded, so that is a 5. This is unbelievable. This is absolutely unbelievable. We're basically getting digits given to us. Now, so the skyscraper clue here just is a 5. 1, 2. Yeah, I see. So it just works. So down here, we've got to put 7, 8, and 9 in order, in different regions. So the 7 is in one of those squares, the 8 is in one of those squares, and the 9 is in one of those squares, because they have to be in order. But can we put 9 here, because that's going to break this question mark, isn't it? Haven't we established that? If you put 9 here, that clue is a 1, and that is not a 1. That does not work. Right, so that means that can't be 8 anymore. That means that can't be 7 anymore. So 9 is at best here. And if 9 was there, the question mark clue would be a 2. And 2 would be getting thrown up the column a number of cells equal to the value of this. Actually, let's think about that. What is the value of this square, which is not now 7, 8, 9, 5, 6 or 3. So that is 1, 2 or 4. But didn't we work out that this couldn't be? Certainly I didn't think it could be 1. Because that implies the skyscraper is 1. I don't think it can be 2. I've been relying on that for ages. If this is a 2, then it's transposing a digit to here, which must be a 1, because it must be lower than this. Now, why did this break? I'm so sorry if I'm being slow here. These are in the same region. That means that so it's transposed a 1, and that means that the skyscraper clue should be a 1, and if it's a 1, that should be a 9. Doesn't work. Definitely doesn't work. So this is even more digits we're going to get, because now, actually, let me just unwind that slowly, because this is a 4, and that means that, okay, so let's make that purple. That is transposing a digit to here. Now that digit now. No, that digit can be. I was going to say that digit can't be a 7, 8, 9. That's total and utter nonsense. It can absolutely be, and it might well need to be, because it needs to be different from green. But if that's a 4... Yeah, no. What I was about to say was absolute nonsense. Well... yeah, there might be a different reason. Actually, maybe not. Well, all I'm thinking is that whatever this digit is, that is the question mark at the bottom, which is therefore the actual value of the skyscraper clue that that's meant to apply to the column from the bottom. So if this was a 9, this should begin 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it doesn't. So that is definitely not the 9. Now, if this is an 8, then, again, I can't begin a skyscraper column that's meant to see 8 thingies with a 4. I could only see a maximum of 6 thingies, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this is not 8. If this is 7, I'm meant to see 7 thingies. Starting with 4, I'm only going to see 6 thingies. So okay, for different reasons then, this is not a 7, 8 or a 9. And that must be huge, isn't it? Because now... so the value of this digit now is a 1 or a 2. Oh dear, that's not going to be good. Well, so it's 2. And I'm not sure this is going to work, actually. I now think I've made a mistake, because it's definitely not 1. Because if this was a 1, that should have been a 9 from a skyscraper perspective. So I can see this is meant to be a 2. But if it's a 2... then we're saying that the skyscraper clue for this is actually 2. So the 9 is appearing early on in the column, so it is restricting it. I mean, I want to say it's going to be there, but I don't know if that's actually forced, because if it's there, but that's a 1 specifically, that might work. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, actually, I'm quite relieved. I thought that was going to be broken. And I can't see why it's definitely broken. It might be broken. But I'm not sure it is. So I have to put a 1. I mean, is it worth? I mean, it probably is. I'm going to pencil mark this whole column. Because I've got to put a 1 somewhere in it. So those are the pencil marks. Now, can we do any more from the top? I've got 4 digits in it. Do I know? I know that's not green, don't I? Because if that was green, it would be a seen skyscraper in green, and that's not allowed. Because it would be visible, because it couldn't be 1, 2, 3, 4, or 4. It should be in a different region to green. So this is definitely, this is the end of green, but I don't know whether this is yellow. Golly gosh. Okay, let's try and indicate that somehow. We could use the line tool maybe. Let's try, what colour should we use? Red. Do that, we can do that, we can do that. We can do that. That one might not be valid actually. I don't know. I'm not sure about that one. I mean, if that's 9, then yes. But if that was 1, maybe it can be purple. I don't know. It's very. I tell you, I think the hardest thing about this puzzle is it's keeping all of the tiny rule implications in your brain at the same time, and I feel like I'm constantly having to relearn it. Okay, so let's now, well, now these 2 digits are the ones that are appealing to me, because these have to be, well, actually, let's not beat around the bush. Let's pencil mark them. And we know these are not 9s, don't we? We have definitely concluded that. If they're 9s, yeah, oh, I know, well, no, I think I know that one's not 9. Because 9, of course, means the skyscraper clue is a 1. It throws a 1 to the other end of the column and then says, okay, those are in the same region. So here, we know that breaks because of this question mark clue, which is going to plonk a digit into this row that has to be in this 9-cell region. So it makes it at least a 10-cell region. But here, if that was a 9, plonking a 1 here, and we said all those were in the same region, there's nothing that sort of interferes with that possibility. That is rotten, isn't it? Something is rotten in the state of region geometry. Okay, all right. So maybe that one then. That one. This one is more likely to be constrained than this one, because at least this one is on the border. Yeah, and I did a whole load of work on high digits over. Didn't I? I proved this was 4 or 5 actually. Does all that logic work over here? That's an interesting question. Okay, I can't remember. This is the short answer. I mean, if that's 8, I can see that the skyscraper clue is a 2, so that forces that to be a 2. It forces all of this to be in a region together. So it forces the 9 in the column to be here, because otherwise the 9 would be a seen skyscraper. So that would be a 9. I have a feeling this breaks for a reason that I can't now articulate. Yeah, it does. Okay, it breaks there, I think, because that can't be a 1 and is at least a 3 now. And that puts a blue cell at least here. And that's already 8 cells. So to collect this, you can't do it. Wow, okay. I mean, even that, I think that there's probably a more elegant way of doing that. But I can't, again, I just can't resurrect in my mind how that works. Now, if that's 7, on the other hand, then we know we're throwing a digit all the way down here, don't we? Yeah, okay, so we do know that these have got to then be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. That's certainly true. We know this square is at least a 3. Yeah, that doesn't work. Okay, yes, I've remembered why I was having such trouble with these high numbers. This doesn't work because this is at least a 3, which would mean there's a blue cell at least here. But the point is you can't go directly to it, can you? Because if you go directly to it, these have to be lower than this digit, and there are no lower digits available left in blue. So you have to go on a circuitous route, and that extends the region to be too big. So the 7 also doesn't work. So now we are down to the bare bones. This is 5 or 6. Now I remembered in this one I did manage to get rid of 6. So that's going to be the question, is can we also get rid of 6 in this column? If it's 6, it still does hit this question mark on the right, which gives me a small amount of hope that we're in trouble with this. So these would be 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. This digit is not 1 or 2, it's at least 3. So this is the earliest we could have a blue, and we know this can't be blue. So we could do that at best. 1, 2, 3, and this is now a 9-cell region. These would have to be 7, 8, 9. Now why is that broken? Maybe it's this question mark clue. I mean, it is actually, isn't it? I can see that. So the reason this breaks, again, I think it's similar to what we did at the top, but this has to be an enormous digit. In fact, let's even take out the way that we get from this string to this position. But we can agree, we can't have this going any further along, because if we were trying to get to that square by a circuitous route, this 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, we're into the realms of 2 large regions. So the only way 6 can work is if very precisely this is a 3, and this is the extension of blue, and this is not blue. Now, the point is that this digit has to be 7, 8, 9 by Sudoku, which makes this the correct skyscraper clue is 7, 8, or 9. Well, we can't see 7 skyscrapers if this clue is so big. We'll see 1, 2, and that cell actually has to be bigger than that one to stop it being seen. So it's totally and utterly broken. Oh, this is great. This is absolutely great, because now I know that's a 5. And if that's a 5, I know it's still going to be... Oh, no, I suppose it's not. It's not going to be constrained because it doesn't bump into this question mark clue in row 6. Oh, bother. Okay, but we get a 1, 2, 3, 4 quadruple there. We take 5 out of all these squares. We can red that boundary, because this can't be seen from this direction or it breaks the rules. We can... Well, these squares are all massive now. So this clue might be where we're meant to look next, or either that one or one of these two possibly. And it's so stupid. I am so stupid. I don't understand. I don't understand. I've just filled in like loads of stuff. And I can't see what on earth I'm meant to understand about this. What's the question mark clue now here? It is... Okay, it's a 1, 2, 3 or 4. That must be correct. So the question... Because this has become 5, it's throwing the digit here, isn't it? The numbered room is throwing it here. So the question mark is 1, 2, 3 or 4. And it's not 1, because then this should be a 9. So that is not 1. If it's 2, then the skyscraper is saying that there's only 2 seen digits in the column, so that has to be a 9. And don't we know that's not 9 because it's a question mark clue? If that's a 9, yeah, that's the 9 is the one that throws a 1 to the other side of the grid and says all these digits are in the same region. And that can't be true, because that digit is in that region as well. God, I mean, even that's complicated. So this is not a 2. This is a 3 or a 4. Now, if it's a 3, well, if it's 4... no. Or if it's 4, that can't be 8. Yeah, I still think there's a problem here. Let me just have a think about this square, because this square is the numbered room clue for this direction. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm just thinking if this was 7, then it would be saying that this digit is purple, because these two would have to be in the same region. I don't think that can be true, because that's purple. And even if you connect these up directly, which I don't think you can, but that's definitely more than a 9-cell region, so I don't think that's 7. But if that's 8, then this square becomes orange. And how do you connect these up within 9 cells? Because you have to duck around this one, because this definitely can't be orange. 1, 2, 3. There's no way. There's no way. Right. Okay, here, so it's simpler. This is simpler. This is 6. That is orange. These are not 6. That isn't putting pressure on this digit, because that's seen. This digit... Oh, I don't know. I think I know something about the value of this. Well, I do. No, I do know something, because that's so massive. So from a skyscraper perspective, this can't be a bigger... I mean, it could be 6, 7, 8, 9 you see in the row, but it can't be more than that. So that cell is not higher than a 4. So this is a 1, 2, 3 or 4, and it's definitely not a 2. In fact, if it's 1, that's instantly broken again, isn't it? Because that says that should be a 9. I'm starting to get it very slowly. So this is definitely not purple as well, because purple would become too big. So we can draw that line in. This is 3 or 4. If it's 4, then we have to go 7, 8, 9 somehow along the row. There is just a chance this is going to become easier now. There is, I mean, I shouldn't have said that, but there is just a chance, isn't there? Because once we start to get some of these regions in, you could see how it could become a little bit more doable. I don't know why I said that. I mean, that's mad. It's a mad thing to say when I've got like 7 digits in the grid, or 8. That can't be 9. We've already worked out you can't put... Oh, no, we didn't work that out. Well, no, we can. We can now say that can't be 9. Because that would put a 1 here. This would be a region. And the oranges couldn't connect. So there we go. That's a tiny deduction. That is 6, 7, or 8. There's still a point there, actually. Let's just give this colour. These are the big questions in life, aren't they? What colour do we give this so that it looks pretty? We could try red. If this is yeah, I mean, if this is even 7, it's throwing a red digit down to here, and that is somehow or other. This is a wall of red. I mean, it might be we don't know how that wall of red is constructed, but we know these connect orthogonally in the end. And that means to connect orange, we're going to have to go round the edge now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You can't. It's just not enough. It's so pretty. You can't do it. So that means that is actually a 6. This is actually the red digit. Now this is still difficult, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, 1 degree of freedom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, that's rotten. I thought that was... So that's weird. So extending this by 1 further down costs it loads of degrees of freedom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah. Okay, so but that definitely can't be any bigger than 6. Otherwise you can't connect the oranges together. Now again, this is 1, 3, or 4. Oh, it's not 1. It's the same point. It's exactly the same logic as we've just done here with the orange. This square is 1, 2, 3, or 4. It's not 2 by Sudoku. It can't be 1 because this should have been a 9. So there's a 3, 4 pair now in row 6. One of these is a 4, and whichever one is a 4 says to either its row or its column that column has to have 7, 8, 9 in order in visible skyscrapers. Okay. Now what on earth do we do next? How many definite different regions have we got? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I think. 6. Oh, so we hardly got any. Well, there are 9 regions in the puzzle, and we haven't even remotely scratched the surface of finding all of them yet. How long have I had? An hour and a quarter. Oh gosh, that has flown past, which is a sign of a great puzzle. What on earth am I meant to do now? I just haven't. This is the problem. I haven't got a clue. Do I somehow know more about these two clues? It's weird that the difference in the power of a question mark clue when it's not against the edge. I mean, this region has to get 6, 7, 8, and 9 into it. As does that one. Where does this one get a 6 from? At least this row. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It could get one from as low as there. These have to join together. These have to join together. these have to join together. Goodness me, I don't know. I've just... okay, I know what that digit is, don't I? Yes. Okay, alright, row 1 is where we meant to look. Thank goodness for that. Couldn't see anything. Right. That digit is the one that's been thrown by this 4, because it's in the 4th position. It can't be a 1, because that would make the question mark a 1 and say there should be a 9. So that's got to be a 2, that's got to be a 1. And that's saying that the skyscraper clue here is 2, which makes me want to make this a 9. Yeah, if this was 7 or 8, it would be seen, and then the 9 would be seen again later, and the skyscraper clue would be 3 at least, so that is a 9. These are not 9. That is... does that have to be red or not? Or, no, I don't know. I don't know what that is, but it's not green. But we already knew it wasn't green. No, that 2 is not doing it. Okay, but that was really useful. So can I do the same thing here? No, I've looked at this already, haven't I? That one is getting transposed down here. So this question mark is 3 or 4. Okay, maybe what we can do is it is impossible, I think, for that not to be orange, because doesn't that just give me exactly the same problem as if this would this was actually red, which I've already thought about. So let's make that not orange. How do we connect orange? We know we can't go this side of red because red will get cut off, so we have to go underneath, and we've already counted that that's too many cells. So that is orange. Now, does that also apply to those 2 squares is I think the next interesting question. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yes, it does. Definitely applies to that one, which I think means that by symmetry it must apply to this one. But I don't trust it, so I'm going to check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, it does. Okay. So definitely 1, 2, 3. We've got 5 cells of orange. And we know somehow or other this forms a wall. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, I think there's something going on around the number of regions that live in this column. And they've got to fit into sort of some amount of space in this southeast corner. There's got to be at least one. Well, actually, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, I mean, this square is definitely not able to be orange. And I don't think it's able to be purple. I just counted that before. I think... Yeah, I mean, purple has to connect up, doesn't it? And it can't, there's a 9 in one of these two squares that has to interfere with purple's ability to connect up. Because the 9 in one of these two, which was given rise to by the fact that this skyscraper was a 5, 1, 2, and we have to see the 7, the 8, the 9. That plonks a 9 down here, which can't be in the same region as 4, because 4 is seen. So there's a 9 in one of those two, and then this 4 is going to have to sort of connect with it, Pac-Man style. And that... So what I was thinking was these can't connect to each other directly like that. So to get to this square 4, even if they could, you can't get there, I don't think. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's already 9 cells. So this is some new colour. Let us call it grey. Actually, I've not used that. So we'll call this grey. This is a new colour. And what I was wondering about is whether I could actually have 2 new colours down here. Because if this is a 4, we see the 5, we see the 6, we need to see a 7 or an 8 before we see the 9. And that 7 or 8 couldn't be in the same region as the 6, or it wouldn't be seen. So we'd have 2 new regions down here, and it just doesn't look like there's enough space. But it might be difficult to prove that. Actually, it's not. I know it's not difficult to prove that at all, I don't think. Let's try and maximize the amount of space in this bottom area. Now that means I mustn't take up more than I ever need to with orange. So in completing orange, I need to complete orange not taking in space. I can't cut off orange either, so this is definitely orange. Yeah, so let's say there are 2 new regions down here. Now, and let's say orange doesn't pinch any more of these cells, so they're all available for these 2 regions. So 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, you can't do it because this one needs to take this square. And once it takes that square, this one can't get out. And that's interesting, because what that means, let's unwind things that so we're in this position, but I think that means this can't be 4. If it's 4, there has to be another region down here that's not grey and not orange, and we've just shown that's absolutely impossible. So that is 3, which means these are not 3. This 1, 2, so now we're only seeing 1 more region down here. So does that mean that that's the 9? I think it does. I'm so terrified that this is... If that wasn't 9, it would be seen. And then the 9 would be seen as well, and there would be 2 more regions down there. So that is 9. This is a 7-8 pair. That doesn't... Now the 9 is seen, definitely, so it must be grey. Because otherwise there are 2 new regions down here, albeit not the ones that we thought were down there before. So that means this is now grey, because otherwise there's another region down here that's stopping grey from connecting. So now orange comes out to here. This is not 9 anymore. And that's beautiful, because that means that's the 9 in this column. Ah, here we go. So now we can do that. The wind is whistling by outside. Now, what region's that in? That's not in this region, because it's already got a 9 in it. I don't think it can get there anyway, it can't. It's not in orange, is it? Because orange has only got 1 degree of freedom. We counted that orange had 8 cells just to close itself. So it definitely can't get there. It's definitely not in. So this is another new region, although maybe it could be the same as that region. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Just, yeah. So that can be a region, I think. No. That can't be a region. Because every visible skyscraper should be in a different region by the rules. And these two would both be visible and both be in the same skyscraper. So this is a brand new region. Right, we're going to give this one a new colour. And we haven't used... I've actually used quite a few of my colours now. I feel like I shouldn't have used so many colours. There should only be 9. What colour have I not used? I've not used the black. I should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, okay, so no, that's fine. So I've now got up to 8 regions. So I'm doing much better than I was before. So now... Now what do we do? That digit is a little bit restricted, because that has to be lower than 6, but it can't be 2, 3 or 4, so that's 1 or 5. I mean, is it the red question mark clues? I've shied away from those because they felt very, very... So how do they work? They have the same skyscraper principles, but they don't have the... well, they have the same numbered room principle, but they don't require that the numbered room digit that's thrown up the grid is in the same region. So they don't have nearly as profound effect on the region geometry. They have a skyscraper-y effect. Neither of them can be 4. I don't know. I mean, that really doesn't feel like the way to go. I have to be honest with you. I like the idea. Have I used these black clues as much as I possibly can? This is a 6. I think this is the one I've underpowered on, isn't it? What's this saying? This is a 6. Now, if this is a 4, I'm meant to see in this column 7s, 8s and 9s in different regions. If it's a 3, I only have to see 2 of them. But that one could be high, I suppose. What about that one? So this one, again, it's the same principle. This one, if this... Oh, here's one little point, I think. I don't think those are both orange. Let me just look at that. Because if they're both orange, don't they both have to be... Because this is a low digit, it's interesting. Yeah, this is interesting. Because that's a low digit, it's not seen. So it doesn't provide any protection along the row. In the sense that the 6 is seen, and everything else in orange now must be unseen, must be lower than 6. So if these were both orange, there aren't enough low digits, because we'd have to cram 7, 8 and 9 into the end. So at least one of these is probably red. So that, okay, so what that means is orange, which hasn't connected yet, has to take at least one more cell from this panoply of digits, because it can't close by doing that. So at least one of those two is definitely orange. So, okay, so say it was that one. 2, 3, 4. So then all of those minimum would be used up by grey and orange combined. Then green could use though 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Green would be, oh I see, and then green could take those two, and that just leaves enough room for purple to come around the edge. So that's probably what happens. How many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nah, that's 8. Yeah, okay, that is probably what happens. Ah. Yeah, maybe we can disprove that both of these are orange now then. Because if both of those are orange, I'm not sure we can get purple to connect anymore. I might be wrong about this. Because now, 1, 2, 3, now we take those squares with grey. Now, these have to all be green. But we've got, and we can take those as all green. And where, where's the next green that we would take? We obviously can't take a wall cell, because that's going to stop purple connecting. So the only cell we could take would be that one. But I think that's going to have one of these profound effects in forcing the path to be too long. 4, 5. Yeah, it does. That forces purple to be 10 cells to connect. So actually, this is really cool. We know exactly one of these is orange now. I don't really know how to show that. Exactly one of those is orange. And exactly one of those has to be lent to one of the other regions in the bottom of the grid. So now, what does that mean? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And whichever one of these is in, it's providing a connection to part of this. But we still need to complete the, so say it was this one that was in, so then you'd have to take that one. And if it's this one that's in, you have to take that one. So exactly, okay, it's hard to see this, but exactly one of these is also orange. I don't really know how to show this in a clean way, but one of these is orange. Let's just revisit why that must be the case. Yeah, because if that is not the case, this has to get out and takes these two squares, and there aren't enough low digits in row 6. So exactly one of these is orange. They can't both be orange because that collapses these two regions and stops purple connecting. So exactly one of these is orange. But whichever one of these is not orange then, it still forces this to take one of these two squares. So exactly one of these is orange. We know these both can't be orange because there aren't enough low digits in row 6. So orange is now made up of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and one other cell, which could be that one maybe. Oh, I don't know if it can be that one. So one of these is orange, but it could be, if that is a high digit that's not orange, that could be an orange. If that's not orange and that is orange, that has to be 1 or 5. So that would be 7, 8, or 9, not orange. These would be 7, 8, 9, not orange. God, I'm really struggling actually now. This is it's suddenly got very difficult. How long have I had now? Hour and a half. That's still not bad. I'm quite happy with that. I mean, I'm expecting to be here most of the day. Right. Sorry, I realise I've stopped talking as well. It's awful. It's just right. Distract my brain. La la da 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 da. Distract my brain. Don't look at the puzzle. Don't look at the. Try not to look at the puzzle. Distract my brain. Distract my brain. So when I come back to it, my brain's had a bit of a refresher, and it will now tell me all the answers. Come on, brain. Right. Reapply. Reapply yourself. What is this telling you? Don't know. I think there's something going on in this row, but I can't. I don't think I can really get a handle on it. I mean, one question I have thought in my brain, I will repeat it now out loud, is where's 9 in orange? But I think no, that is a fair question actually. Yeah, what I was. Okay, yeah, I will ask that question. I will ask that question with sincerity. Where is 9 in orange? I'd seen it couldn't be at the bottom of the grid, but for some reason I thought it could be in those squares, but now I'm thinking it can't, because it would, yeah, it clearly can't, can it? Because it would definitely be seen. And it's not allowed to be seen because that's already been seen in row 6. So it is a good question. I should listen to my brain more. So where is it then? There's only one more cell of orange to come, so it must be in this row, mustn't it? It's not there. It's not there. So I think there's a 9 in orange in one of those 3 cells. I mean, this is another horrific pencil mark. Something like that. But that does at least complete orange. Orange definitely can't get a 9 from that row. Yeah, okay. So we'd identified 8 approximate cells of orange. So the 9th orange cell is there. Now that does mean I can do that. And that might mean something. I don't know what though. Okay, so if I know one of these is orange. yeah, I do know one of these is orange. So actually the 9 in this row is over here, isn't it? That might be wrong, but that's just what my brain's telling me now. Because we know that if there was a 9 in one of those squares, it's now not orange for sure. But the other one would be orange and wouldn't be seen. So the maximum skyscraper clue for that row would be 2, and we know it's at least 3 or 4. So okay, so there is a 9 over there. And that 9 doesn't belong to green. It doesn't belong to grey. So it probably belongs to purple. He says, trying to understand what that means. And failing. Oh, wind is going nuts. What does that mean? There's a 9 over here. So the way that this becomes a 4 requires now, it requires one of these to be a 7. A seen 7. And this to be an 8-9 pair, with the 8 being there, seen, and the 9 being here, seen. Oh, I'm just not sure. Can we... here's a thought. Here is a thought. Bingo. Got it. Right. Right. Okay. Now, I want to go back and look at something we looked at about 20 minutes ago. I was thinking, wasn't I, about how grey and green interacted with purple. And I noted that it was possible, and indeed likely, that that sort of shape was going to emerge in purple. Well, now I'm telling you that is not what happens in this puzzle. Because if that happened, I don't think you can put 9 in the bottom row. But is that true, is the next question. And the reason obviously being that 9 in purple is up here somewhere. It might be possible. I don't know. We're going to have to explore this. Okay, so we know one of these is orange. So we have to make a decision about, well, do we have to? Does it actually matter? I don't think it matters. Let's say this is grey. Grey needs 6 more cells. Let's give them to it. And it could be this one, but let's make that one the putative orange one. So this is now available to green. So we've used up these squares. So all these can be green. This can be green. This can be green. We've now used 7 of green, but we have to let purple out. So we have to do that. That's absolutely forced. Now, how do we get... You can't do it. You can't do it, because you've got to get purple connected now, but you've also got to get purple connected without taking a 9. How do we do this? Let's just shade all this in for the sake of exposition. Purple has to take those squares. That's indubitable. So we can't take this. This can't be the 9. And we can't take this one, so we have to go over the top, and that's going to make this too big. If we took the 9, you can't put 9 in the bottom row, because 9's appeared in green, it's appeared in grey, and it's now appeared in purple. And let's just belt and braces that. If, on the other hand, we say that's the orange, and this is then available to grey, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we make grey something like that. These now become green. It's the same, exactly the same point. It's exactly the same point. It's just really difficult. So now, well, hang on. Now what are we saying? Now we have to find a different way of making this work so we can get 9 in the bottom row. Ah! So we're saying that it's not possible. This is impossible. But I've still got to... Oh, I see. No, it's okay. It's sorry, I was being put off by this cell actually, and it's shading. Yeah. So what we have to do, in effect, what we're saying is that we can't close purple with that sort of pattern. It just doesn't work to fence in green and grey along the bottom. So the way that we have to connect purple is round the other side of green. Now that, and then we mustn't make purple take these 9s. It can take one of those squares, but not both. So how do we connect purple round this side? Well, we've definitely got to take that square now, and we've definitely got to take this square. So that now makes that one orange. That makes that one orange. That makes this not orange. So this is something new. Let's hypothecate that cell off. We now have got a very approximate shape of orange. Something like this. This is probably red, but we don't know. This is purple. That forces green out this way. That purple must connect, so we get quite a lot of purple done. One, two, three. So 2 of these squares in some configuration are purple down here. So purple can't get to those squares. So these are all grey. These are all some mashup of grey or purple. And so purple now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Purple has taken 8 cells of its quota. We can draw that in. And purple, oh, now I'm not sure. Now I think everything we've done is true, but now I can't really see where I'm meant to be putting the 9. Good grief, this is complicated, isn't it? It's really complicated. I'm so sorry. If you can see this, well done. Well done. I cannot. Oh no, what I was about to say was total and utter gibberish. It's better if you don't talk gibberish, Simon. It really is. Okay. This might be true. What I'm about to say might be true. It might not be true. I'm going to claim that's not an 8. Because if that's an 8, where do I put 8 in orange? Now, remember, we've got 8 cells of orange and a 9th cell of orange up here, which definitely contains the 9. So if I make that an 8, I think I've got to make that square an 8. In orange, but this mustn't be seen, must it? Because otherwise we've broken the rules of the puzzle, and it would be seen in every situation except when this is a 9. But if this is a 9, the skyscraper clue for this row is 2, and we know the skyscraper clue is 3 or 4, so that doesn't work. So that is a 1, which means that is a 7, that is an 8, and there we go. I say there we go as if that's somehow done incredible things. I mean, we know in this column the 7 and the 8 are seen. So the 7 and the 8 are obviously in different regions. Does that mean that those join up or not? I think it's a possibility they join up. I know. Have I is that now the 9th region of the puzzle? This 7? Because I've now got. Let's do another count. So we've got grey, purple, light green, orange, red. They are all definitely different. Blue is definitely different from those. Green is definitely different. Now, could yellow can't be red. Yellow can't join up to anything else that we've got in this column. And yellow is, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah, that's 8. Yellow is definitely different from that 7, because the 7 is a seen skyscraper. And the 7 can't be orange, and it can't be green. Oh, could it be red? Maybe it could be red. Yeah, maybe it can be red. That's annoying. So the only way this isn't the 9th region is if it's red, and red does exactly that. That's probably broken for some reason that I don't understand. This would be an 8-9 pair in that instance. It would actually go quite a long way to finishing the puzzle, I think. Oh, all right. That doesn't work for a different reason, which is I've got too much white space on the right. I've only got the blue region left. Oh no, but I'm allowed another region now. No, that might work. All right, I'm to keep changing my mind about what might work and what might not work. That might work. The other thing I was thinking is that in this column, because these digits are all unseen now, they've all got to be 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, don't they? So this has to be a 7, 8, 9 triple. That would be a 7 or an 8. This would be, that wouldn't be able to be in grey. So both of these would have to be in purple, which is impossible because purple couldn't then reach them because there's only 2 purples down here. I mean, that's incredibly complicated. I suspect that this is the final region, but yeah, but we don't want to get there on some massive bifurcation. So then, the 9 in the bottom row, is it possible now? This green region is going to cut this row, isn't it, somewhere, because it can't pack itself into just those squares. So it is going to cut one of these, and where it cuts, it's going to push the 9 into the other position. Yeah, so this purple region can't go there. Because if it goes there, the green will go here. The green can't be 9. That will push purple to take the 9. And if purple takes the 9, there's no region that can put a 9 in the bottom row. So we can do that that is a legitimate boundary. The thing that I'm slightly concerned about is there could be... Oh, no, this is fine. Ah, beautiful. Yeah, I've been mulling over whether there could be another region that sort of scoots down the left side of the grid and plonks a 9 into one of these squares, but I'm realising, of course, that's impossible. Because in coming down the channel, it will pick up the 9 that this one doesn't pick up, and then it couldn't drop a 9 off here. So the 9, it is purple in the bottom row, and it's not there, so it's there or possibly here, but that would put a 9 in a question mark, and that is a red question mark, which probably doesn't work. Although, no, that is going to be a 9. I don't believe it. Because if that's a 9, the skyscraper clue is 1. Well, that's correct, because the numbered room that gets thrown up 9 cells is a 1, and that goes to the correct cell. And there's no funny business about these having to be in the same region, I don't think. So that can be the 9. Bother. So the 9 in the bottom row is either here, which is going to be the final purple cell. That would make green have to go up there. Here or here. There is a 9 in one of those, and it's a purple 9 wherever it appears. Okay. I don't know where to look now. Is this in any way obvious? Probably. 1 has to appear in orange somewhere. So 1 is in one of those 2 squares in orange. That must be true, I think. I wonder if that's something we could actually think about. I've got all sorts of vague ideas about how this might work now. But nothing is sort of shouting at me as being concrete, unfortunately. I've got a bad feeling that I do need to really work on how column 3 divides in terms of regions we know exist in the puzzle and regions we don't know exist in the puzzle. But I know purple has got 1 cell only that it's allowed to contribute to the rest of the world. Oh, I'm so sorry. If this is obvious, I apologise. I mean, it could be obvious. But I am not finding it so obvious. I have to confess. Goodness me, I don't know. Where is... I'm looking for sort of a clean question. Not in the sense of vulgarity, but just in the sense of, you know, something that leads to an obvious conclusion rather than a long chainy conclusion that may or may not help. And I'm struggling so much to see anything here. Oh, hang on. All right, that question mark clue does see a 7 fairly early on in its row, so that can't be an enormous clue, can it? It could be 1, 2. It could be a 5 maximum. This clue, a 5 maximum, and that's going to get transported along the row depending on the value of this. You see, this is so open-ended, isn't it? I just don't feel like that's doing anything. Oh dear. I'm totally stuck. I don't know what to do. It probably means I've underused clues that I've already got. I think row 6 is probably something going on that I can't understand. Do I know the value of this square? I mean, obviously it could be a 1 from my pencil marks, but it could be a 5 because it could be still a lower digit. Could it be any higher? If it was 7, how would that work? It then mustn't be seen, which implies this would have to be an 8. Okay, so maybe that's possible. This could be 1, 5, 7 if this is 8. If this is 8, then that becomes a 3. Now, can this be 8? If this is 8, then what does that mean? If this is 8, it must not be seen, which makes this have to be 9, which it can't be because that breaks the skyscraper clue. Alright, so that's 1, 5 or 7. Okay, so we can ask legitimate questions then about some digits, can't we? 2 in orange must be in these squares. I mean, that's so bad. That's such a bad deduction. I mean, I think it's slightly true, but 8 is the other one. 8 must be in those squares. So 2 and 8 live in these squares. What on earth does that mean? I don't know. Is there some reason that it's difficult to somehow get extra regions into this space of the grid or something? If this is, what do we think? We've worked out this could be 3. If this could be 3, if this is 8, couldn't it? And then there's a 9 over here, which we know exists. So maybe I have to think about whether this can be 4. If this is 4, this is 3. That probably is fine. I don't know why it wouldn't be. If this is 4, though, then we need to see 7, 8, and 9 in this row, which requires this not to be 7. So this would have to be 7. That would fix a 7 and an 8 up there. I hadn't seen that. Don't think that matters, but... And then this would have to be an 8 and a 9 in different regions. Now, why does that matter? We know that the 8 would have to be in this region, don't we? Because we know this is going to cut row 6 at some point. So it would have to be cutting it this side of it. So this would go up there. Let's just pencil that in so we can see it. And this would be a 9th region that wouldn't have been able to have been seen by this row already and would have a 9 here. And it may or may not go lower down in the column. So let's just pencil that region in. Now, is that broken? My answer to you is going to be, I don't think so. I don't know. Or is it something to do now with these not being able to be... See, this 9 now can't overlap with this 8 because the 8 is not allowed. If the 8 is seen, the 9 can't be seen as well. And the 9 obviously will be seen. So actually, that has to go a bit further up here. Which means this has to go a bit further up here. Now, does it have to go again? It does. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's got to go again, and it can't take this square. This is problematic. Or is it? Maybe it's not. Maybe this is. Maybe this is the 9th region. Yeah, maybe that can be a purple 8. That can be red. This is 9. This is 8. And this is 7. Actually, why did I think that... Oh, I think this is an anachronism, this pencil mark here, because that clearly can't be orange anymore. I think that's left over from when that could be orange, which we've deduced is no longer possible. Because we know orange has already had 8 of its cells, so the last orange is in one of those two now. Okay, so hang on, let's go back, because that was all predicated on something complicated, wasn't it? Which was trying to work out whether this could be a 4. We can still remove this though, so that's good. And we can just pause and take stock. Oh gosh, we're way over 2 hours now. Where's the time going? Okay, I don't know. Let's think about other things then. Here's a small point about the law of leftovers. Yeah. Is this right? I think it's right. The bottom 2 rows, these 2 rows here, they have to contain 2 of every digit. Hopefully that's totally obvious, but they do. They do have to contain 2 of every digit, don't they? And we know grey definitely contributes 1 of every digit apart from 9. And that means that either purple or whatever region sits in this corner has to provide 1 of each of the other digits. Now, this 2 and 1 can't be in any of these purple squares. So they must be in these squares, mustn't they? So that they appear twice in the bottom row. And 1, look, can't be in those squares. So there is a 1 in one of those 2 squares. And there is a 2 in one of these squares. That was almost quite cool. The same is true, obviously, of this digit. Whatever that digit is, also has this property. And that will also have to appear down here. Which feels like it might matter. Oh, there's something going on here. I just can't get my head around it. So that digit, which is also a digit that appears somewhere in orange, and it's not 9, and it's not 1, and it's not 4, look. What is this digit? Oh, it could be 6. I didn't see that. It could be 6. Okay, so this digit is either, let's do this very carefully, by Sudoku, it's either, could be 3 maybe, can't be 4, 4's already appeared in purple. Could it be 5? Maybe. Could it be 6? Maybe. Could it be 7? Maybe. Could it be 8 or 9? No. 3, 5, 6 or 7. And that digit has to appear down there, but it's not restricted. Botheration. But whatever that digit is, God, it's really nearly difficult. It's very nearly difficult, you know. I've just thought of something. If that's a 4, you almost can't put 4 in this row. Because if that's a 4, none of those are 4. That doesn't seem to be able to be 4, which is true. It's already appeared in purple. That can't be a 4. So if that's a 4, that's a 4. I don't think that matters. And I suppose if that's a 3, it's almost as good. If that's a 3, one of those is a 3. It's just we don't get the 4 at the top to help us with that. Gosh, that's really nearly very, very powerful, isn't it? That really is nearly very powerful. Right, okay. So let's, instead of that, how are we going to do this? I think probably I'm going to come back to this column and try it. I might have to use that logic I did earlier, which would prove that this was in the 9th region. Maybe that's what I meant to do next. I meant to understand something more fundamental about the number of I mean, I suppose here is a minor point, but I'll make it. This column is responsible for at least 5 of the regions of the puzzle because of this skyscraper clue. Now it could be responsible for 6 in the event that this square is not purple. Because if this square is not purple, that square is a 6th effectively, because there's 5 seen this way, and then this one would be a 6th. I wonder if that's actually possible. If they are 6 regions of the puzzle, I'm wondering if I can prove that 8 actually has to be in purple. If that's 6 different regions, we know that has no overlap with orange, so that would be a 7th. No overlap with, that would be an 8th. No overlap with blue, that would be a 9th. So the only way that's possible is if red joins up to one of the regions that we've just talked about. Now, can we rule that out or not? It's incredibly difficult, you know, for red to do this. Like, incredibly difficult. Yeah, I think it's legitimate. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Maybe this is what I meant to do. I mean, I saw this ages ago, but I was just a bit reluctant to use it. So the point is that if either of these... Well, let's do it for 7 again. Let's start with 7. If 7 is red, then the only way we can construct a 9-cell region only is with maximum alacrity. It has to look like that, doesn't it? And then these squares, which must not be seen by the question mark in the column, have to be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Which means these have to be 7, 8, and 9. And these squares here, neither of them could be, if these are from 7, 8, and 9, they can't be grey. They both have to be purple. And if they're both purple, this, yeah, it cuts off grey. It's impossible. So this isn't, so okay, so we can say, and I will now say, that this 7 is not part, in fact, yeah, the 7 is not part of any region in the puzzle that has a colour at the moment. It can't be part of the 6 because that would break the logic of column 3. It can't be part of orange. Orange only has one more cell to grow. It can't be part of purple. Purple's got one cell to grow. It can't be part of green because although green can reach it, these have to be in different regions. So this is the 9th region of the puzzle. Let's just double check the count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah. So this is the 9th region. It needs its own colour. And the only colour I have available is my black colour, which I don't like using, but I will for a moment or two, just while we think about it. And now, this is fascinating for this 8, because this 8 now has to join a region that was already coloured, but is not coloured in column 3. And it can't join to anything. The same reason, it can't join to red for the same reason that 7 couldn't join to red. If it joins to red, these are a 7, 8, 9 triple again. These two squares have to be purple, and grey can't grow big enough. I mean, actually, I'm cross with myself because I think that logic about this being 7, 8, 9 is actually very clear now I think about it. I didn't see the way it would just cut this off. I was seeing it as it couldn't join up to here, which is a slightly less clean feeling it left me with. So but this is great. This is great because now I think that has to be purple. And if that has to be purple, that's the 9th purple. And now we can do this and this and this. And now the other thing we can do is we know that purple had to deliver the final 9. So 9 is now in one of just 2 places in row 9. We know that, right, we know 2 more things. We know 8 has to make an appearance in one of these squares now. That's forced. Along with this digit, whatever this digit is. I don't think we're any closer, unfortunately. Or are we? Oh, this is doing my head in. I'm not sure. Oh, I can't. My brain keeps going round. It's like it's stuck in a loop. I can't. I thought the existence of an 8 down here might prevent this being an 8-9 pair. But the more I think about it, the more I keep thinking, yeah, that might work. So because I was trying to prove that this couldn't be a 4. I think the only way that's a 4 is if this is an 8-9 pair. And we know if this is an 8-9 pair, the 9 here must overlap. We must have the 9 in this cell. So this must overlap with this one to push the 9 there. And that makes this have to be an 8 in this region. And this have to be a 9 in a different region. And then that region would have to come and reach down here, because this would have an 8 in it. So this 8 down here would have to belong to this region. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, I think it can work. Oh, hang on, no, I've cut off. Hang on. I've got a bigger problem here. I've got a much bigger problem, actually. Hang on. Let's go back a moment or two. I did not like the look of that at all. How do I fill this part of the grid? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, that might work. Okay, I can do it. I'm not sure this one can do it. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, because if this one pokes out, I mean, what can get to that square? Maybe we start simple. What can get to this square? Nothing. Nothing is the straightforward answer. That is definitely, absolutely 100%. This one's interesting as well. Let's just try and make that a different colour than green. What happens? Because green has to take so much of this column to get to 9 cells. It's going to have to take all of them, in fact. So that's definitely green as well. Sorry, this is obvious, actually. What about that one? That might be the same. No, maybe not. Let's just give that a go at being yellow. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That might work. That might work. In fact, it sort of looks quite good, doesn't it? Although maybe this question mark clue becomes tricky now. Because if I can disprove this... Yeah, this is a big point. I'm thinking, because if this was green, then green contains an 8 and a 9. And then if this was an 8-9 pair, green couldn't get out. And that would give us this. So if I can prove that this digit can't be yellow, we are in quite an interesting place. It definitely can't be dark green. Dark green could never get down to this square. So let's have a think about this red question mark clue. Because we're at the visible skyscrapers point is going to mean what? Oh, I don't know. Well, if all of these squares are in green, and they would have to be because it would look like that, this clue, that can be seen. In fact, 9 in the column would have to go there, wouldn't it? So this would have to be a 2 clue. And that 2 would then get thrown up the column by this digit. Somewhere. But let's say this was a 5. So this would be a 2. 5. I mean, really, probably, if this is a 2, you probably want this to be an 8. That would give this a 2 value by numbered room. Although that doesn't quite work, because I think then in this quadruple you've got to put the 2 here. Oh, it's really difficult, this. Very, very difficult. Maybe we approach it a different way. Is it possible, if that's a 2, that's plonking a digit here that would either be, that would be one of those 3 digits. And it couldn't be a 1 because the skyscraper would be broken. So the digit here would be higher than 2. It would be 3, 5, 6, 7 or 9. No, or 8. Sorry, 3, 5, 6, 7 or 8. And it would be seen. So that is never a 2. Right, actually, let's unwind this. I'm going to think about this digit a bit harder. I don't think this can be a 2 for the red question mark reason, because it's transplanting a digit here that can't be a 1, because that would imply the skyscraper should have a 9 here, which it definitely can't. And the only other digits that go into this square, because these digits here in this bottom 2 by 2 are exactly equal to these digits, aren't they, by the law of leftovers? So if that's 2, we have to put a higher digit here. That doesn't work. Okay. But does that actually matter at all? Does it matter at all? I'm not sure. I think that's such a marginal point. Maybe it's not. Okay, maybe what I have to actually do, which is a terrifying thought, is pencil mark this square with all of these digits. Now that can't be a 1, can it? The numbered room would be a 1, the skyscraper would be a 1, that doesn't work. Right, so that digit is not 1. We've just proved it's not 2. So it is either 8 or it's this one, 3, 5, 6 or 7. Now what do I want it to be? I want it to have to be 8. But if it's 8, then we know that the skyscraper clue for question mark is a 2. That 2 would be thrown here by numbered room. It couldn't be part of dark green, so it's probably part of yellow. And that's probably fine. If it's this one, this digit is either a 1, 2 or an 8. It's not a 1, I suppose, so it was either this, so this would be a 2 or an 8. And if it's, what do I want it to be? I want to have to put an 8 in one of these 2 green cells. That's what I really want to be able to do. So if that's 2, do I care? No. Actually, it can't be 8. Yeah, because it would be seen, wouldn't it? Hang on. Yeah. So if this is this one, this can't be 8 and has to be a 2 by force of nature. And if this is 8, that has to be a 2. Does that do anything at all? So none of these can be 2. I don't think it does anything. This is 3, 5, 6 or 7, which is that one. I'm so confused. I think I'm getting tired now as well. How long have I had? Nearly 2.5 hours. I still... was it about an hour and a half ago I said I thought it was going well and we were about to finish? That has proved to be foolhardy in the extreme. I don't feel for the last hour I've made very good deductions, actually. I've really, really hit a brick wall. I suspect, I still, well, this is where my gut is telling me there's some deduction I can make. I just don't know what that deduction is. I know that clue was fairly low, but yeah, it's helpful when you know these 2 cells are in the same region for thinking about the question mark. It's a little bit helpful. Do we know? Have we concluded? We have, I suppose, concluded that something interrupts the flow of this 6 clue, haven't we? Because we know this can't be a 7, 8, 9 triple down at the bottom. So we do know that there is a clue in one of those squares that is higher than 6 and is not in the red region. So what region? Oh, it's going to be that region, possibly. Well, I mean, it could be these regions as well, but that's not actually a big surprise. So there is a seen region or two in this section of the grid. And is that useful? If it was here, it would have to be a 7. Probably have to be, I don't know, one of either that one or that one would have to donate a 7, because 9 and 8 are not available in that square. If it's I don't know. Oh dear, come on, Simon. Use your brain. What is it you're not spotting? Is there a reason? Do we know? Have I got to think about this again? Is there something I'm not appreciating? What are the possible values of this square? It's 5, 7, 8 or 9, isn't it? It can't be 1 according to my pencil marks. So it's not 2, 3 or 4. So it could be 5. It can't be 6. So it's 5, 7, 8 or 9. Now, it's got to join a region that's not orange, but it looks like it wants to join red. But it could maybe join blue. It could well join blue. And is there a problem with it joining blue? If it's high, it can't be a 9 actually, because it would be seen and it would stop the skyscraper being big enough. So it's either 5, 7 or 8 now. I wish I understood. I really do. I'm so sorry. I'm sure this is obvious to many of you. Most of you probably, but I really don't want to give this up. I have to sit here until I finish this now, because I've spent a long time on it, and I do feel eventually, if I was on a desert island, I would be able to solve it. So I've just got to find a way through. Just got to find some logic that allows me to do something intelligent. It's really, I mean, I suppose I shouldn't be surprised given how the paucity of information at the start. But it's magical the way you can build these regions. But what I shouldn't be surprised by is that actually the process of nailing down the precise shapes of the regions is difficult. It really is difficult. I know there has to be an 8 down here, but what I don't know is what region that belongs to. If I knew it was green, happy days. That would be happy days. I think I'd be able to make some quite decent progress. Maybe. I'm not actually sure about that, but problem is there's quite a lot of flexibility in terms of, do I have to make a decision then about how green closes? Because green's got to get round yellow, but it could go there or there, couldn't it? I mean, it can't do both, but it could do either one of those things. Is there some trouble with yellow? Yellow and red are different. What colour is that 9? I think that could be red or yellow. The only thing it can't be is green. It may even be able to be this one. This is baffling. It's absolutely baffling. Oh. Okay, that can't be 3, can it? If that was 3, where do I put 3 in orange? It couldn't go there, and it couldn't go there, and it doesn't seem to be able to be anywhere else. Right, there's a tiny deduction. That knocks 3 out of that square. So this is quite a high number now. 5, 6, or 7. Yeah, that was an obvious deduction. I don't think that's going to help very much. I mean, I could now label these all up with these digits. But I don't think that's doing anything. I definitely know there's a 1 in one of those. I suppose that 1 has to be green as well, doesn't it? Because this green needs a 1 in it. And it can't get that 1, so it must get the 1 that's in one of these 2 squares. So the numbered room for this clue is throwing a digit into this square, this square, this square, or this square, but it doesn't have to be in the green region. That's just where a digit gets thrown that is commensurate with the value of the skyscraper's clue. Now, because this is at least a 5, the skyscraper's clue is a maximum of 5. So the digit that's being thrown up the grid is 2, 3, 4, or 5. But okay, and this digit is definitely lower than this digit, otherwise it would be a seen skyscraper. So how could that be 8 now? It can't be 8. That could never have been 8. That's just obvious. So this digit, which is not 1, is either exactly equal to 2 or it's exactly equal to that digit, 5, 6, 7. And that works in the event that this is 8. And if this is 8, that throws a 2 here. I have a feeling that might fail for some reason, because it's such a clean deduction that that's 8 causes that to be 2, which causes that to be 5, 6, or 7, causes this to be a 1, 2 pair. But that's 5, 6, 7. This has to be lower, it has to be 2. So the thrown digit is then 3 or 4 or 5. This is an 8. If this is 5, 6, 7, this is 8, 1. I don't know if that's true actually. So is the 5, 6, 7 always in these squares? Because either this is 5, 6, 7 and this is 2, or this is 8. And that throws the 2 up there and makes this 5, 6, 7. Yes, the 5, 6, that digit there is always in that digit, these 2 digits. So these digits are from the other digits, 1, 2, and 8 only. So if I knew that this was 8, then that would be 8. And that presumably would do something useful. I don't know. I'm not sure. Okay, so let's come back to, can we prove this? Yeah, because I think my instinct is right here, which is that proving this digit is light green, and therefore one of these squares is 8, and in light green, does resolve this domino. So that does feel like a very natural thing to do. But what I'm struggling with is that it seems possible to me at first blush for this to be yellow. So let's go back to that and see if we can do better. So to connect this up, that's obviously going to have to leave enough room for green to stretch up the column. Stretch its legs all the way up. Maybe I know more than I did before now. So this would all be forced. This would be 9 now. This would be 8. So this would be 8. And that's the scene skyscraper. That's done it. Oh, it's easy. Oh, dear, dear, dear. I'm really sorry. I'm very sorry to everybody who's stuck with me for this long on the video, because that's disgraceful. That's disgraceful. I didn't see that. It's very obvious once you consider it. So this is all predicated on, can I force? Can I ever make this a 9-8 pair? I'm just gonna double check that I've not elided over anything there. So all I've said is, in that situation, that's clearly 9. The only way to stop or to allow this now to be a 9-8 pair. Yeah, so let's just make sure the logic is completely tight. I think it is. So what I'm saying is, if down here the 9 and the 8 are in the same light green region, they can't escape through a 9-8 pair here, which would force this to be a 3. If we try and build a situation where this can be a 9-8 pair, the only way to do that is to allow another region to duck down in here and pinch the 8, because we know that the 9 can never be pinched by this light green region. So we come down here, we pinch the 8, and now the problem with this, to allow this to be 8, but this is clearly seen. And in fact, another way of thinking about this, which I hadn't appreciated, but which is perhaps even more compelling, is where do you now put a 9 in this column? It just can't go in, can it? Yeah, it's obvious. Okay, fine. That's great. So, okay, so let's use that logic. So that logic is, if we try and give this to another region, you can't then put 9 in this column at all. And therefore, that's beautiful, actually. Emre, that's beautiful. If that's what you intended, I totally admire that. That is completely and utterly fair, and just totally and utterly inept of me. So now I have now proved this is not an 8-9 pair. I am happy with that. In fact, another way of thinking about it is I've proved that this digit is definitely light green, and therefore 8 is in here, yeah, and that does it. So now, if this can't be 8-9, where is the 8 in this row? It's got to be here. And if that's got to be 8, that's not 8. There's 8-7 at the top gets resolved. I don't know what that does, if anything, but it does mean that this is now a 3 and that's now a 4. And that's going to mean something, he says somewhat desperately. Here is an interesting thought about that, which is, where is 4 now in orange? Because now, well, there's two interesting thoughts. There's got to be a 3 over here, which we thought about before, but 4 in orange now is in one of these squares, so we've got a whole load of even numbers in this row. But now 4 has to appear somewhere in light green, and it's not here, and it's never in this column, and it's actually not there either. Where is it? Okay, so it's in 1 2 3 4 5 6. So it's in one of those squares, I think. Okay, so now we can think about how light green escapes, I think. Because if light green escaped to get this 4, for example, like that, these two squares are isolated. So it doesn't do that, does it? It must go up with alacrity up the column into either this square or this square to pick up the 4 it needs. Therefore, this is not 9 anymore. So this is 9. That's in a new region. So this is some new extension. I don't know whether it's meeting this one or this one yet. It's one of those two, I think. I'm saying that on the basis I don't think it can get to light green. No, it can't. Oh, sorry, dark green. So now, well, now what are we saying? I've got to put a 9 somewhere in column 2. That's clearly a question I need to bear in mind. Because it's not the one that I've been asking, where I think I should have been asking it ages ago. 1, 2, 3. So I've got 8 cells now I've got 8 cells of light green. I've got okay, I've got 1, 5, or 7. I know that that's not a 1, so that is a 5 or a 7. But do I know which? I might know if I knew what that was. And that digit is one of the digits down here, but I still don't think I know what it is. Okay, maybe I've got to think about this square now then. So this now is saying in this column there are the 7 is higher than the 8 is higher than the 9. So maybe that's got to be the 9 now. Ooh, that's interesting. If that's not the 9 in this column, then the 9 can't go in these two squares. So the 9 would have to go, it couldn't go there because there would be orange. So this would be 9. Oh goodness! I think it works. 9, 8, 7 would how it would have to look. All of these would be in different regions to the 6. That might be the trouble. Ooh, yeah. How do we do that? Oh, maybe we pinch. Golly gosh, I mean, this might be ruled out for some... it might be an obvious reason if you see it, but I am not seeing quite how to do that. I don't know. Okay, what would it matter if oh well, I suppose we get the 9, we'd know the shape of grey, and we'd know the shape, yeah, we'd know grey did something like that. We probably wouldn't know very much more. Maybe that isn't the key. This would be a very useful cell. If we know that's light green, that would be massive, because then I think this has to be yellow. And then yellow would cut off green then, so this would have to come out. But if this square goes that way, then that takes light green, doesn't it? 4. This must not be seen. The 9 in this column must not be seen. Can we do something more with this? I don't know, or maybe we're almost at the point. I mean, I suppose... that's an interesting thought. Maybe I could do it this way. Okay, let's try and do it making this a black digit then. So this would be light green. Now if we do that, this 7 must not be seen, because this is definitely seen. So this would have to be bigger, wouldn't it? This would have to be 8, which would put a 2 here by numbered rooms clues. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Well, that seems totally reasonable. All of these question mark clues did so much profound work earlier, and now they're not doing anything for me. That couldn't be a 9 up here. That wouldn't matter. What's this question mark clue at the bottom? We don't know. I almost think this is right, actually. That looks quite persuasive now. Wow. Wow. Oh, no, I was about to say that can't be 6. Absolutely can be. Absolutely can be. Gosh. Oh gosh, Emre, what have you constructed here? This is... We're heading up towards 3 hours on the clock. What time is it? Gosh, it's nearly 1:30. I don't believe it. This is going to be the longest solve ever, isn't it? Because I'm nowhere near. I haven't done half the grid. Okay, we'll accept that and move on swiftly. I know that these digits here. Do we know something about? I can't remember what we know down here anymore. I think we worked out there was definitely 5, 6, or 7. So we've definitely got 2 or 8 here. So 2 or 8 are going to be pushed up this column to where green isn't. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It is only 8. I keep recounting it, hoping for some epiphany. Oh dear. If this is yellow, is that easier? I don't know. I don't know. This is really confusing me. Okay, maybe we can... That cell's colour. That's either blue or red, isn't it? Because if it was one of the others, it would cut off red from meeting up. So that is either... That's either blue or red. Now, is the same true of this square? That must also be true. That must also be blue or red, as indeed I think must this one. If it's yellow or black, it gets cut off. It cuts off red. So that's also yellow or red. Yellow or red, blue or red. My brain's totally gone now. So one of these is a blue 8. That's interesting. Makes it slightly harder for blue to get across and interrupt the 6 clue here. Because that was the thing I was thinking about before, wasn't it? Where's 9 in this column? If 9 is not here, then 9 is not there. So we have to look at that again. 9, 8, 7. Now, how do we do that now? The 8 can't belong to blue or to red. Well, we knew that already. So the 8 belongs to either black or yellow. got to say, this almost looks right to me. It's so forcing. 1, 2, 3, 5 in the column. 1, 2, 3, 5. This would be 1, 2, or 5. I don't think we care. I wish I could disprove this somehow. I'll have to get 3 regions into this column. The 3 regions that are eligible to get into this column are, well, no, because green might be able to get in. No, that's interesting actually. To get green into the column, I cut off yellow from getting into the column. That might be something worth actually going back and revisiting. Yeah, I might how green closes. But so this square could be blue. If blue took that 8 and all of those squares, it would just work. And then yellow or green could connect this one, and this one would have to take the 9. Although that might militate, or might force this one to be yellow and then green to be the one that comes out and grabs the 8, which it just can do. God, I mean, this is probably right because it looks like it just makes everything fit. Okay. So let's instead mull over. I was just wondering about if I closed off. Which way did I think it was going to be? There was one way that when I was looking at it just now, I thought, oh, that does look like it's putting a lot of pressure on the world. And now I'm not sure. I think it was if I put green up here. Because this has to get out. So it's either going there or there. I mean, I suppose, well, actually I say that. It could do both, but only if green then does that. Which is going to make green then do that as well. And, well, again, it's so... I'm reluctant to go down these big bifurcatory paths. I don't want to do that. I want to see something that's pure. It is true to say, isn't it, that all of these digits have to be lower than this digit. But I mean, the problem is this could be an 8. If this was 5, 6, or 7, that would be 2. Well, yeah, okay. If this was 5, 6, or 7, this couldn't be 7. So this would have to be 7 or 6. This would be 2. This would be 5. That could be 3. That could be 4. And it sort of works. It hangs together just about, doesn't it? And if this is green, we're not saying it's necessarily seen. It is a possible visible skyscraper from this direction. The most forcing thing is again, it's a point that we've looked at before, but I couldn't disprove it. And that's if this sequence is forced, because now I've got to hide the 7. So there has to be an 8 in... Well, the 8 would have to be visible only, so we'd have to put the 8 there. That would be absolutely mandatory. This is now 1, 2 pair. That is a question mark clue, so what on earth does that mean? That means that now I'm... oh, this is the one where I throw a 2 over the side of the grid over here. This becomes light green. 4 is quite difficult to place in green in this situation. 4 would have to go there. This becomes a 1-2 pair. So 8 has to go here in this column. This has to be 5. This is a 5. These are both green. I'm just going to have a think about this and see whether I can see anything problematic with it. So these become a 1-2 pair. We get 3, 5, 6 and 7 to place. But the 8 shields everything, doesn't it? It forces this to be a 2, which couldn't be dark green, so that would have to be either this one or yellow. I still don't know which one. There's a 2 over here in this world. I mean, this looks right, doesn't it, frankly? Frankly, I can believe this is right. So this bifurcation has not proved of any value at all. Now, so the other alternative is that this green extends one more, which would mean this couldn't be the 9 because we've already put 9. So there's now a 9 in one of these squares, which can't overlap with this one. We know that, yeah, so we know now that the yellow is what connects here. So we know green has to connect round here, don't we? Because this now can't be black anymore. So this would be yellow. This would be the yellow flavour of our wasp. That has to be yellow. That has to be yellow. Now the 9 now must go there. So that forces everything, or almost everything, about yellow. These are all green. This is green to get out, and let me tell you, that's the wrong size. I mean, that is brutal. That is absolutely brutal. How could I have seen that more efficiently? I don't know. I don't know. So let me think about that with a different hat on. How could I have seen that? I could have seen that because I mean, it is visualizable. I didn't visualize it, but it is visualizable if you know what to look for. So we're pontificating that this is light green, which clearly forces these to connect, and not via the 9. So the 9 can only, given that that has to be yellow, the 9 can only go here. Yellow stops, so yellow forces green like that. Yeah, you can see it. You can see it. It's just, it's not what I was looking for. I wasn't thinking about counting this region's possibilities. But this is massive. Well, is it? No. I was about to say this is massive. It is sort of massive. This not being able to be green does make that green, which might do something for us. I'm not sure. I really am not sure, actually, because now I still don't know which way, how this joins up. I know I've finished my light green region. And maybe I can pull the same trick again, actually, which is to say, how can this one join to this one? Because to enable that, that would have to be yellow, wouldn't it? Which means the 9 would have to go here. Yellow would join up. And green would cut it off. It's still the same problem. Ah, that's beautiful. It's very clever, this. It really is. And it makes you think in so many different ways. So this is the same point we've just run. But let's do it again. So what we're saying, or what I'm saying, is if we try and connect this to the yellow one, then clearly the yellow one must go here, mustn't it? And now this can't be a 9. So this cell here is not yellow. So yellow must close in that way. But now green has to get out. And it has to pinch this square. And because this can't be yellow, because it's a 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, it makes a maximum size of 8. Good grief. So this is really important, because now we've proved this is black. And if it's black, that square must be a black digit. Therefore, that is not 9. And now we're in a world where now this has to be 8. And that means that has to be 2, because by numbered rooms that's forced. So this loses the ability to be hardly anything. That's not necessarily black. In fact, it definitely isn't black, because it's a red clue. But if it was, then this region would be too large. This is unseen, so that's fine. That is a skyscraper 2, so that's fine. 8 comes out of these squares. So that's become, after all this work, a 1-2 pair. Which means that we can take 2 out of this square. But didn't we work out... Oh, I don't know. Well, if that's 5, 6, 7, that has to be 8. And then it would be a scene 8. That doesn't work, so that becomes 8. Now that means that square is also a 2. This is unbelievable. That square cannot be green, so that's now... Oh, don't know. I mean, it's not green. That's for true. But I don't know what colour it is, because it seems to me it could be grey and it could be yellow. It's probably... I don't know. And I don't even... I'm just thinking, do I now know how green closes? I'm not even sure I know that. This is completely absurd. Oh, look, I can do some stuff in the bottom row. I can get the 8 and the 7 there. The 9 in this column now is placed. And that has no business being a black digit. So we can also do that. Now, didn't we also, weren't we wondering about 4 in green? Which now seems to have to be there. There's a tiny point, but we'll definitely use it. And we've got 3, 5, 6, and 7 left to place in light green. Which is probably... not very useful. Oh no. If this is green, then yellow is trapped in, because we know yellow is different, so that is not green. Okay, that's something. So yellow must get out. So now green has to get out. And green can only get out by doing that. That's beautiful, because it can never take that square, which becomes yellow. So there we go. That's a flurry of activity. I'm gonna take that and run with it. So now look, black has to get out to here. Green, we've got a few cells in. Well, that actually, I've got all of them. Oh, that's worried me actually, because isn't that going to mess up my ability to make? So this is now yellow. Do I know that that's yellow? I don't think I do, because it could join red. It's yellow or red. That seems a reasonable deduction now. I must know the other digits I've got left to place. 6, 7, and 8. I've got left to place in, and 8 is placed in green now. Look at that. So this is 6, 7. So that is not 6, 7. That's 3 or 5. Gosh, that was... Well, that's 3 or 5 as well by Sudoku then, but we don't know anything about that. That's an 8, so that's what gave me the 2. How do you construct this? It's completely bananas. 3 hours 10. I'm sure that's the longest Sudoku video we've ever done on the channel. And this is difficult. I mean, I've no doubt there were clever ways through various bits of it where I've got stuck. But good luck to anybody who finds all of these clever ways really fast. Almost at the point now where it's getting hard for this to be... What was the thing we were saying? In order for this not to be 9, this had to be 7, 8, 9, didn't it? Oh, that doesn't work anymore. Yeah, that doesn't work. That would have to be 8, and that doesn't seem to work. That's what we were considering as being the only way to make it work. So now the 9 is lower down the column than this square. So it must be there, and that's beautiful because that gets us a free purple digit which completes our purple region. And therefore we get some more joy doing this and this. And now we might as well label all these digits, which are 3. Where's 3 now? Oh, has that been available forever? No, I don't think it's been available forever, actually. No, I dispute my brain's sudden concern about that. 5, 6, 7 here, so 1, 4, 9 in the column. Somehow they seem to have lots of options. I mean, oh, well, that's not 9 because of that 9. That depends whether that's yellow or not as to whether that could be 9. That still has the ability to be orange, so goodness only knows. 1, 2, 5 and 6 into these squares. 8 then. 8 is not there. Is this helping me with where? No, it's not. 8 is in one of these two squares. I don't know. I still don't know what's going on. This square. I think that square is the same as that square. That is quite interesting if that's right. I think it is right, because that's got to appear. That digit's got to appear in column 2, and that gives me a 3, 5 pair in black. And so the only digits are 1, 2, 4 and 6 left to place in black. And 2, we've got to get a 2 into black. That's going to be interesting. Don't know where that's going to appear. Okay, let's think about... Oh, yeah, I see. Where is 8 in this column? Not there. It could be here, but if it's not here, it's not there by Sudoku. It's not there, or there by Sudoku, and it can't be here because the clue would be wrong. This has got to C, 7, 8, and 9, so we get a digit there. That's an 8. How many 8s have I got? I must have virtually all of them. 1, 2, 3. No, I haven't got all of them. There's one left to place. It's there. Now I'm just going to double click them all again, check none of them are overlapping. Gosh, that's great. That feels like a bonus, doesn't it? 9. So have we got, how many 9s have I got? Lots, but not enough. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, not enough. So has this done anything? So now there's a 7 in this column in one of those squares, and it's not here. And what's lending the 7? What's giving the 7? What region is it, is what I was wondering. What region is lending the 7? Now that cell... Is that possible? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It might be. Have I used all these clues? I know I've not quite used this one. That's not... Oh, look, I get a 2 in this column. Oh, that might be interesting for this region. I've got to put a 2 in this region. I've had 6 cells of it. So I can't get it. Yeah, where's the 2 in this region? I mean, I think it's got options, but I think those options must involve one of these 2 squares, mustn't they? Within 3 cells, I've got to get a 2. And they can't be from any of those. So I could dip down here, but it's got to be in one of those 2 squares that there's a black 2. And somehow that doesn't do anything, of course, which is infuriating. I don't even know. I don't think I know anyway. I mean, because I could go like that. I don't have to take this square. To my knowledge, I might be wrong, but I don't think I do. I mean, if that was 7, that would be 2. Two, 3, 4. It could just be a lot of Sudoku. Oh no, I was thinking oh, actually that's not 7, I've just noticed. Maybe it is Sudoku. 7 is in one of those 2 cells. Now, I think if the 7 is here, it feels more difficult. Because one thing I have just noticed is if that is 7, then blue can't connect to this. Because if it's blue that connects to this, in effect, however it does it, it's cutting red off from itself. So if this is 7, the only way this is 7 is if it connects to yellow. I'm not saying that's impossible, but I'm saying it's quite tricky. Although maybe it's quite tricky in a sense that that's what it will be, because it would force this to be the black 2. You'd then have to go up. I mean, there are enough digits for this to work. You'd have to go up again because you need to leave enough room for this to complete. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So something like that. That might even allow this 9 to be in yellow. And then something like that. I don't know if that's the right number of cells, but it certainly doesn't feel impossible, does it? Okay. Let's just take that 7 out before I rely on it. But if that's 7, that feels easier for it to connect to yellow, certainly. Ah, I got a 1-4 pair in row 4. I'd never seen that. So these squares, maybe I can do Sudoku from 3, 5, 6, and 9. That is not 6 or 9. That is not 3 or 9. And that can be all things to all people. Ah, but that does give me a 3, 5 pair. Right, that gives me a 6. Okay, so that gives me a 9. Okay. I don't believe it though. Okay, so what needs a 6? Red does not need a 6. Yellow does not need a 6. And blue definitely does need a 6, but not from there because it would cut red off. So that is a black 6. Now this digit is a 3 or a 5, so that's definitely not black. And we know that black definitely needs to get a 2 from one of these squares. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's really nearly forcing, isn't it? Oh, this is great. I'm actually getting quite excited because this is we're getting to a point where we have nearly finished the puzzle. 3, 4, 7. I mean, I don't know why I've said that either. What a stupid thing to say. Can we do anything with these digits? Have I used all the clues? I'm not sure. I mean, I'm not sure whether I've used all the clues or not. I think I have. Well, apart from this one. I don't know, do I, about the order of this 1, 4 here? I don't think so. I'm not sure. Do I know anything about the order of these? I don't know. Oh, that's not a 4, I've just seen by Sudoku now. So that's 1 or 9. I wish I knew whether this was yellow or not. Or maybe we can say with some certainty what colour. No, what colour that is, I don't know. It seems like it can be blue very easily. I'm also sort of, just as I'm doing this, I'm trying to see how could I have done it more efficiently. Like, I've got a feeling there might be, you know, if I've used lines or something to join up necessary borders, would that have helped me? I mean, yellow now. Yellow, even if it takes this 9, is definitely spilling out here, isn't it? How many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There are very few degrees of freedom in terms of connecting red up now. Because if it does, given one of these cells is not red, let's just say it's this one. Oh no, let's say it's that one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it takes 8 to just get around one cell. Now, I think 2 cells are going to be the same, isn't it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, because we can still move with efficiency towards this position. But what we definitely can't do is have yellow or any other colour spilling over here and forcing us to take a wider detour. So this region, which might include this, and is going to come out here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's something like that, isn't it? Because it cannot go into column 7. It just cannot do that. Which feels... So how could this square not be yellow? If that square's not yellow, yellow is spilling over here and red's got too far to go. So that is yellow, definitely. I think it's very difficult for this not to be yellow. 1, 2, 3. Because that would use up the degree of freedom as well. 1, 2, 3 in red. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh no, that would work. Although no, now black hasn't got enough digits. It's only got 7. Oh no, it could get 9, couldn't it? Because if it took both of these, and that was a 1, and that was the 2 it needs, 1, 2, and 4 would do it. I don't believe it. Good grief. Okay, but this is something like this. This is something like the game we've got to play. If that's yellow, oh god, I mean, oh that's not, oh no, we don't know because we don't know what this is. Oh, I don't believe it. Oh, good grief. What about if that's not yellow? If that's not yellow, yellow spills over here. That doesn't work, right? So yeah, that's yellow as well. And I mean, is there a digit that's difficult for red to pick up? Does red need a 2? Oh, that's huge. I didn't see this, but that's huge. Oh, that's beautiful as well, because that's probably what this red clue was doing. Yeah, let's think about that. So, orange has got a 2, blue's got a 2, yellow's got a 2. We know that black has to get a 2 in one of these squares. So the thing that hasn't got a 2 but needs a 2 is red. And then red's 2 must come from here, and that uses up the degree of freedom. So now this square cannot be red, because we know red has to zip around the outside of the yellows in this column. That's really clever. That's really clever. Whoa. So let's just double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah. So that is the degree of freedom. So we definitely don't get to have this 9, which means that's not 9, which means that is 9. Whoa. I wasn't expecting that, because now that is orange. Right, now to get our 2 for black, we have to come down here. We don't know whether it's this one as well, but we definitely have to take that square one. So that's got, I'd quote it, we're up to 8. And this is a 1, 2, or a 4 by, it's not 4 because of that. So it's a 1 or a 2. But now orange is finished, so we can delete this. Orange has just been completed at long last. It's taken me ages. Okay. I think if we think about how red has to close now, red has to hug yellow on its right, doesn't it? Otherwise it's going to get too long. So I think those have to be red. That can't be a 4, therefore. I suspect this has to be red. And if that's not red, how does red get out? It can't. So that's definitely red. And if that's red, then that's red, because it can no longer be blue, look. And if that's red, then that must be blue at the top, because we know they were sharing the 8s, weren't they? That must be red. I don't know about that one. Okay, so we've almost got the structure of red. 5, 6, 7. One of these at least, and then possibly this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 8. So we need 6, 7, and 9. So we still have to give blue a 9, actually. Where's that going to be? That's quite a reasonable question. I think it's got to be here. Okay, so that's the blue 9. I've got a 1, 4 pair in row, so these are a 3, 5 pair. Okay, so that seems to give me a 3, 5 pair in this column. That means, let's just have a look at column, this column. 1, 2, and 7 to place. So that's a 1 or a 2. That gives me a 1, 2 pair in this row. That's a 1, 2, or a 7. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. My 3s and my 4s just don't feel like I know enough about them. Is it going to be something? No, it's not. None of the low digits here get seen, so it's not something to do with a skyscrapery logic. I've got a horrible feeling. It's almost like there's a missing clue or something. That's what I feel like. Emre, you've left a clue out. I'm sure, unfortunately, that's not the case. But how does all this stuff at the bottom ever get resolved? Well, okay, yeah. Where does yellow get 3 and 5 from? It hasn't got them at the moment, so it needs both of them. So that there only those two are available. So that is yellow, which means that has become red for red to get out. So red's now managed to pick up a 7. and we can see that red needs 1. This is a 1 or a 5. That 3. Look, there we go. So that's giving me a 5 here and a 3 here. So that becomes a 3. That becomes a 5. That becomes a 3. That becomes a 5. That's not 5 anymore. This is just, I mean, it's remarkable. I mean, I've virtually finished it, and yet I'm still sort of looking at it thinking, how does it actually resolve, given I've got no more clues to use? I need a snooker maximum, don't I? So where is the no, that's not a good question. There's still options for that. 1, 3, 4 and 7. What do I need to complete red? Is it just a 1 or a 3 here? Yeah, I need to put a 3 in red. Red, I think, is finished in terms of its size. So that is 3, which means this is 1, which means that's 2. That's the 2. That's the black 2 that we needed. And this is now a 7. So that's a 1. So that's a 4. So that's a 1. That's a 4. And that's a 1. So I still need to put 4 into the black region. So where does it get that from? It must get it from there, because that's become a 7. So that's the black 4. That 7 is needed for yellow. Red is finished. So we just need 2 high digits left. We need 7 and 6 for blue. I will do the red ringing in a minute, if this carries on going. I need a 3 in this column. It's got to go there. So this is 1, 2 or 5. No, it's not. It's not that. What is it? I need 4 in this column, actually. That's got to be the 4. And in this column, I need 2, 4 and 6. So the 4 goes here. That becomes a 2 because of that. So that becomes a 6, a 5, a 1, a 2, a 2 and a 1. And still it resists. That now is that we know these two are the same. Still don't know what they are. This is a 5 now. So this is a 1, 7 pair. That is resolved. I mean, the beautiful. I'm not saying it. I'm not saying it until I've actually done it. 6, 5, 7. Maybe a 5. Wow. 3.5 hours. No one's ever going to want to watch this. I mean, this was so difficult and so. I mean, it's fascinating. I wonder how many calories I've burnt off solving this. I think it's going to be several. How I feel. Let's just see. Congrats. Oh, puzzle doesn't include solution. No. 23 people have only ever solved this in nearly a year. Wow. Okay. Well, that tells you it's a very hard puzzle. Because Emre's puzzles, they definitely get attention. Everybody wants to be able to solve them. But I think. I mean, it's the longest Sudoku video we've ever had. And it was, I mean, it's breathtakingly clever. I just don't, there is not one part of my mind that understands how you get up in the morning and think, I know, if I combine skyscrapers and numbered rooms in this way, I can make magic happen with very few clues. It's astonishing. It's astonishingly minimalistic. I'm sure deliberately. I'm sure this was constructed as almost a challenge. can I create a puzzle with this rule set with only question mark clues? Well, Emre, you did. I found it very hard, especially in the middle. I could not see for the life of me. I was slow at this point around where the 9 went in this column. I could have got that much. Well, I could have got it quicker, definitely. And I have a feeling perhaps there was a way of getting these 8s more quickly, because they were quite useful in posting 2s around the grid. But even once I'd overcome that hiccup, still every deduction was sort of hard won. It's just fascinating. It's absolutely fascinating. What an incredible puzzle. Emre Kolotoğlu, who hasn't said a puzzle for a while, if I'm not mistaken. Take a bow, my friend. Return to us. Come and lend us more of your magical mind. And thank you if you're still watching this, if this ever sees the light of day. Thank you so much for watching it. It's longer than the extended editions of The Lord of the Rings, nearly. Probably is longer than the extended edition of Fellowship of the Ring. Not maybe of Return of the King, but we should ask Emre to return. Return of the King. Return of King Emre. Thank you very much for watching. We'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.